Hey guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and thanks so much for tuning into what's going to be another video in my crushing makeup series. If you're not familiar with this series, the premise behind it is that out of pure curiosity, I will take palettes from my collection, crush up a small portion of them, and mix them all together to see what fun color combination or sometimes combinations we can get. In today's video, I'm going to be working with the Maybelline Lemonade Craze Palette. I've already crushed it, as you can see. This is kind of the disclaimer portion of the video. The palette is still fully intact. I only crush a small portion of them. I save the mixed shadow that I have. I repress it. I have a whole video about doing that here. So before your heart skips a beat thinking we are rendering this whole palette useless, don't worry about it. We got it under control. And if crushing makeup isn't your thing, there are so many other videos on this channel that you should go ahead and check out, but today, this is what we are going to do. So as you can see, I have already crushed this guy. I've mixed the color. The two swatches that I got, it gives you kind of a soft peachy color. When it's dry, it looks matte, maybe borderline satin. I think, you know, mixing the neutrals here with the bright berry, a touch of that yellow gives it that peachy hue. Like I said, when it's dry, it's satin, mostly matte, I would say. But when I applied it wet, I just dampened my finger with a little bit of setting spray and applied it wet in that swatch that you see. There is a hint of shimmery metallic in it. Really, really gorgeous, and that must come from the shades Citrus and Strawberry Daiquiri, which have a hint of shimmer, like a golden undertone shimmer in it. Oh, and maybe Main Squeeze or Sugar Coated, which is like this metallic copper down here. Either way, it really changes the shift of the shadow when you apply it wet, so I'm going to be applying it both ways here today. I'll probably use it matte in my crease and then go and foil my brush and pat it on my eyelid a little damp so we can get that cool, fun sort of shift. So with that, let's go ahead and zoom in. Alrighty, now that we are nice and tight in here, I'm going to take, my brushes are all of them, so dirty. I need to wash them, so I'm getting desperate for crease brushes, all brushes. For the crease, this is not a crease brush, but this is the Bdellium Tool 788. I am going to use this for the crease, like I said, applying it dry first. It is a very fluffy brush. I actually really like this for applying a precise highlighter in my outer corner because it picks up a good amount of product given its fluff and density, so I am going to have to work to tap this off before applying if I don't want to fall out everywhere. Okay, let's get to it. I do have my eyes primed, by the way. I use the CoverGirl Lid Lock Up just for reference. Okay, now we apply it. Ooh, that's a lovely shade. It's like not so pink that people who are uncomfortable wearing pinks around their eyes will feel like it's a bright, bold pink. It's more like a dusty rose, maybe a more intense pink than a dusty rose, but still has a hint of dust to it to kind of tone it down a notch. I like that. Yeah, that is a really nice color. Now I'm going to go in, this is the CCB 103 from City Color. This is the flat shade that I'm going to use for my lids, but it has kind of a more precise tapered tip that I'm going to use to run that along my lower lash line too. And then now to apply it wet, I'm going to foil it with some Urban Decay All Nighter. Any setting spray will do. I'm just getting my brush a little, maybe a little more damp, and then going to town. I feel like that's not as big of a shift as I saw. Oop, I am getting to know my neighbors. That's what happens when you film with the windows open, because you want the natural light. Hi. But anyway, I think this is a little less intense. Maybe I can build up the intensity or wet it a little bit more, but I feel like the swatch was a little bit, had more of an intense shift to it. I guess you get kind of a shift there. It's really pretty. So layering it up, you get a little bit more of an intensity. I have two layers on over here. I feel like there's a stronger gold shift, so I'm just gonna even it out. I like it. I'm gonna apply some liner and mascara and come back with some final thoughts. And we're back. The liner that I used was the Pixie Lash Line Ink. Got this in the mail as PR recently and had really high hopes for it because they also recently sent a collaboration that they've done with a couple of different influencers, Chloe Morello, Dulce Candy, and I think Wiley. And in one of those, there is a dual-ended felt tip liner and pencil. It's one of the best liners I've ever used. So I had really high hopes for this guy. Not so much. This was a real dud for me. It was a dry felt tip liner that I feel like even now on this eye specifically, it just drug and applied unevenly, kind of skipped across my lid. And so it is just not my sharpest line, I don't feel. Would not recommend that. But the mascara I have been using for the past couple of days and really like. Again, this came as PR2. This is the CoverGirl Peacock Flare Mascara, and I've been wearing it, like I said, probably more than a few days, probably for like the past week and a half, I would say, and have really liked this mascara. All right, so what do we think of this shade? It's a muted coral with kind of a golden shift. Nothing that I feel like is too unique, so naturally at the end of these videos, I put it to the test. Actually looked at my collection for some similar shadows and did not have to look far. One of the first things that I picked up was this Morphe 12S palette, which really need more love from me, specifically this one. It's such a gorgeous palette. It is all shimmers, so you need to have some matte. I mean, you don't need to have mattes to balance it out, but I personally like mattes to balance it out. Anywho, this shade on the bottom, is it this one? Yes, it's this one. Pretty similar. It's a little bit softer, has more of a strong, shimmery, metallic shift to it. So if you're looking for something that's closer to the matte base of this guy, look no further than the Wet n Wild Not a Basic Peach palette. This is almost a dead ringer, especially, I mean, no one shade in particular, but if you were to mix the two peaches in here, this kind of bolder, shimmery, corally peach on the bottom, mix it with the matte peach up top. I think they look very similar. Here are the Sweet 3 swatched on my hand. We have the Lemonade palette mixed here, which actually was applied dry. I could build it up a little bit to get that pigmentation up, but very similar to the Wet n Wild mixture you see here. And then here's the Morphe shadow right here. And this is me trying to figure out why that liner wasn't working, just trying to scribble it on my hand, but so ignore that. But the rest, those are the three lined up, and I feel like they look so similar, especially from far away, and when distributed across your eye, they're just gonna wear very similarly. So hopefully I was able to do this so you didn't have to try and experiment and see what these shadows created. Although if you don't have any of these palettes and you want to do this, feel free. That's the shade you will most likely get if you have a roughly even distribution of all the shadows. But beyond that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed playing in some makeup with me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys!